Stop for me, fall like stop for me.
Hello, welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about the various developer tools available to us in our browsers and how we could use them to our advantage. First off, I'm going to open Microsoft Edge. The shortcut for accessing the developer tools is F12 or function F12, maybe if you have a function key on your PC. The first thing I want to talk about is the difference between the DOM, which you could see here. The DOM is the document object model, and it's basically how the browser interprets the code and how it structures it. Now, one thing we also have is the page source. The page source is the same as what you type in your code editor, your text editor. I use Visual Studio Code, and this is exactly what I typed into Visual Studio Code. It's the same thing within our browser. Now, it's different from the documents object model in that we could apply certain things through JavaScript. It's going to show in the documents object model, but it won't show here. That's because the source code is static. I'm going to demonstrate that using a button. Now, what I want to demonstrate as well is the fact that you could shift your developer tools around however you want them. I'm going to use it on the left side today. So this is the selector tool, and it allows you to select elements. I'm going to select this button, and it has been selected here. Now, when you hover over it in the DOM, you could see that the various properties of the elements are shown, are displayed to you. So I added this button to change the color of this div each time I clicked it. So when I click it, you can see that the background color has been changed, and you could see that that change has been effected here, or it shows up in the DOM. When you go into the code, however, there is nothing appearing here. Now, changes that you make in the developer tools or the DOM are temporary. So when I reload, this has been reset to white. Another thing I want to show you today is the style section of the developer tool. Now, this style section shows the element style and then the styles applied by the various classes that are shown. So you could see for this div that we applied a width of 50%, a background of white, and a border radius. Let's say I want to change that. I could go straight into the element and do a background of maybe black. Maybe I wanted to change the background to see how it looks. Now the background change shows here, and it also shows here, and as you can see, there's a strike through in the class, or in the style applied by the class. That strike through is equivalent to disabling the style by unchecking the checkbox. Now let's say I want to revert back to this white background. All I have to do is to uncheck this, and you could see that there's a strike through. I want to also use Google Chrome. Now, apart from the element section, one other section that we have is let me expand this a bit. It's the console. Now, in the JavaScript code, I specify that if I click the button, it prints out in the console that the button has been clicked, which you could see here. So the console is basically how developers test various JavaScript codes that they write. So let's say I wanted to check if my click event works. So I specify that if I click, this should be printed out to me, and so on. But today I'm going to center on these things. One other thing that we have, which I'm going to demonstrate in Firefox, is our box model right here. I'm going to click the button again, and you could see that all the properties that have been applied to the buttons show here: a white background, the height, and all that. Now that could also be changed right here in the box model. All you have to do is to click on the figure you want to change and then reduce it using the arrow keys. So I want to center it a bit, and about 68 pixels on the left side centers it. So I know when I go back into Visual Studio Code or whatever text editor I'm using, I would want to change this to 68 pixels for the margin left to center my button. Now when I reload, that has been reset. Every style or every property of the element that you create is shown here, and these are basically default properties, but I'm not going to get into that today. So yeah, basically that's the developer tools, and they can help you immensely when you're creating web pages. So I encourage you to use them and use them well. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoy this content, like, subscribe, and share.